All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Late night show, I guess. So, been a long day, but I wanted to get in and at least discuss this. I'm sure some of you have already seen this pop up through multiple different articles that have been written on this already today. Matter of fact, I think I've counted 3. So, before I get into it, I mean, I do want to rest assure the Lions fans that this may not be as bad as what we think. But let's get into it, okay? You've seen the headlines that I posted there, and then this is, we're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown in the Netflix series, and quite honestly, we're the Lions bamboozled here. My choice words, I guess, for this video, but now live stream. I think they were, and I don't know if the Lions were given much information as to what information Amon-Ra was sharing. I don't know if this is going to be a big deal with the NFL, but part of me believes something's going to happen because there was another team that was also penalized last season for a very similar situation. So the exact quote here that I think kind of got him in trouble, potentially now, allegedly, potentially, whatever you want to use. He said, so I can barely, I'm running, but the pain is like a 10. It's like at an 8 or a 9. And so I'm like, it's too late for me not to play. The game plan is in, and the rest is history there. I mean, you guys heard the Amon-Ra St. Brown quote where he said that he doesn't normally like to take painkillers, but it's the Packers. And, he had great games that week, both weeks anyway. So what's happening here? And as you can see on Lions Wire here, it says, however, a recent episode may have put the Lions in the crosshairs of the league. And by not reporting an injury, that's a big deal because it goes into the fairness of the game. And it's competition, right? They have a competition committee, for all these types of things. They develop all of these types of rules for these things. And that's what this speaks to is if you're hiding an injury, then you're not being forthright with your opponent and giving them an opportunity to plan, for Amon-Ra St. Brown not to be in. Or maybe he's hurt and he's out there playing decoy and he really won't get the ball. And now that team could play you an entirely different way. So that's what this is going to speak to. That's what the rules are going to, dictate as to what the punishment is. And I'm going to get into that towards the end of this video, what I believe the punishment is going to be based on the rules that I looked up and previous precedents that have already been set. But we know Roger Goodell is good at one thing for sure, and that is he doesn't care about the rules. He does whatever he wants. And a matter of fact, before I get into the rest of this, let's take this into consideration for a moment. Last year, the Lions beat the Cowboys. We all know that. And at the end of the day, the record didn't show that. But what happened from the NFL side? What did they say? They said that the Lions were trying to be, too funny. And they beat themselves because, they're trying to trick everybody. And, forgive me for the loss of words here, but in a nutshell, the NFL was blaming the Lions for playing the game better than anybody else. So I can only imagine, is Roger Goodell going to go extremely far out on a limb with this? Or is he just going to smack the hands of the Lions like he did for another team? Twice, actually. That same team was penalized twice for last season, or last season and this season. But talking about the Atlanta Falcons. So let's get into this Lions Wire article, and then I'll pull in a Fox News article as well. So it says, on the latest episode of Receiver, it was revealed that St. Brown had suffered an oblique injury during Detroit's Week 3 game versus the Atlanta Falcons. However, the Lions did not put St. Brown on the injury report for Week 4, which, of course, was against the Packers, which was on a short week with a Thursday game against the Packers. So they played Atlanta on Sunday. They had the Packers that Thursday. Game plan was already installed, like St. Brown has said, so it's a little bit too late. In his opinion, he was playing. He didn't care. He was going to get in. And Fox News here, goes on to say that there's no one questions just how tough these guys really are, right? But do people question the legitimacy of what teams list or don't list in their injury reports on days leading up to a game? We've seen it, right? I mean, we've seen all sorts of things happen, the week before. We've seen guys get taken out of a game and then they don't end up on an injury report for whatever reason. The Bijan Robinson thing last year, which we'll get into, was kind of funny. The whole way that, that thing went down. But anyway, during the first episode of Netflix docuseries Receiver, the star wideout Amon-Ra St. Brown revealed that he had been battling an oblique injury before the team's Week 4 game against the Packers, what we just read on Lions Wire. I swear these sites all copy each other. But this is the quote. He says, "We have a Thursday game after Atlanta," St. Brown said during the episode. "So I can barely, I'm running, but the pain is like on a 10. It's like an 8 or a 9. And so I'm like, it's too late for me not to play. The game plan's in. Painkillers is something I really don't like to use, or something I don't like to take unless it's the Packers." I really appreciate the hell out of St. Brown for doing that. I mean, the game is just too big for him. He wants to win. And he put his body on the line to go and beat the snot out of the Packers that week. But man, I just want him to stay healthy. That's what I want him to do, is stay healthy. Like, I get it. But one more little tear, man, and that thing was done. So where does this all boil down to? What's going to happen for the Lions if they do get in trouble? Well, I'm going to put Mr. Goodell on notice that last season he fined the Atlanta Falcons, the team, $75,000, and Smith individually $25,000, which I believe Smith is the head coach. So Robinson played just 11 snaps in the Week 7 game against the Buccaneers and touched the ball only once. And Smith isn't the coach. So the league fined the Falcons $75K and Smith $25K. Robinson only played the 11 snaps. And what had happened is Robinson said afterward that he hadn't been feeling well that day or the day before. And yet the Falcons hadn't added Robinson to the injury report. So something as simple as what they reported as, later as headaches or even an illness, that should have been on the report. If he's got a headache, he's got an illness. If he's got an illness, if he doesn't feel good, he doesn't feel good. It's an illness. It's got to be on there. It doesn't matter what it is. You scrape your knee, it's got to go on the report. Whatever you want to call it. So the NFL requires teams to be transparent about players' injuries. This is according to the rules. And illnesses, both to prevent teams from gaining a competitive advantage over their opponents who don't have the information, and to prevent inside information from becoming valuable currency for gamblers. So there's a whole other side to this that I don't think a lot of us give a lot of credit to, but fans who made prop bets based on Robinson's performance surely felt ripped off after the fact when Robinson only got the ball once. And as the NFL embraces gambling more than it ever has before, they are in bed with everybody and twice on Sundays. It also needs to demand transparency. So the lack of transparency is why the Falcons were also fined today. Well, I guess I would say this. I don't think anybody lost from a gambling perspective by not knowing that Amon-Ra St. Brown was suffering from an oblique injury the week before. Matter of fact, what did St. Brown have in that game? Like 106 yards or something crazy like that. I'm gonna look real quick. I didn't look this up. I apologize. I should have before. So against the the Packers Week 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown put up 5 receptions, 7 targets, 56 yards. I'm sorry, he had 102 versus Atlanta. So the next week, he had a shy week. 1 TD, though. 24 yard was his long. I mean, it was about average as far as targets were considered. But that's the other component to this. So at the end of the day, here's what I think is going to happen. The Lions are probably going to get fined $75K. You know, is what it is. Or $100K all in. If they're going to, you know, follow what the precedent that they set last season with the Falcons, I think that it's going to reciprocate for the Lions. And that's our breaking news update for tonight, that I believe that the Lions are going to probably get fined for this. I hope it doesn't go any further than that. We know how the rules have been different for the Lions forever. I'm hoping that we've shaken some of that off and that we're going to move forward and that we don't have to worry about things not being as fair, you know, or equal, because, hey, this is the competition committee. This is the rules that they've put in place. Let's keep it that way for all things, right? So that's your breaking news update. There'll be some videos popping out talking about what happened today. Rookies reported. It's game on. We are back to football, people. You guys have a great rest of your night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.